over the weekend, we've talked a lot about Sinclair Broadcasting, which is the other sort of even further to right than Fox. And they have hired, do you remember a guy named Boris Epshteyn? He was a political advisor to Donald Trump. And now he has a new segment on Sinclair called The Bottom Line with Boris. And this is a preview of the 2018 Republican congressional strategy, the 2020 Trump reelection strategy, and also another great example of how, my God, if you're willing to have right-wing politics, you can get any job imaginable, even if you are not suited for the medium. Here is Boris inaugurating The Bottom Line on Sinclair Broadcasting.
Considers ways to improve its messaging. One area that may see change is the White House daily press briefing.
Our chief political analyst, Boris Epshteyn, who is a former senior Trump campaign advisor and administration official, gives his insights and commentary about what changes may be coming.
The relationship between the White House and the media in general, and the daily press briefings in particular, have gotten a lot of attention recently.
My friend, you don't think your wife deserved diamond? It is anniversary. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's take a look at the White House press briefing, what it is, what it represents, and how it serves the American people. The White House press briefing, led by an official press secretary, started way back in 1929 under President Herbert Hoover. In 1933, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt himself took a larger role in the press briefings. He took questions from the press as often as twice a week. Press briefings represented a way for the press secretary to give the press access to the administration, to allow the press to pose questions on the issues of the day, and to inform the American public of what was going on at the White House and the administration as a whole.
Some members of the media were engaged in deliberately false reporting.
From the very start of the Trump presidency, the press briefings have veered way off course. They've become much more theater than information gathering. Theater in which, frankly, the press has often played the leading role.
You don't want to cover the stuff. No, hold on.
No evidence of wiretapping at Trump Towers. Now you've had the House Intelligence Committee and the Senate Intelligence Committee.
No, actually, here's his quote, Jonathan. No, hold on. I understand that.
Changes are afoot within the White House communications and press operations, and scaling back the press briefings is a part of that. The White House is looking to hold more off-camera briefings and considering for President Trump, just as FDR did almost a century ago, to himself occasionally brief the White House press. The bottom line is this. The interaction between the press and the White House has become much more of the story than the actual substance itself. The briefings have devolved into a circus and a distraction. The American people and the press absolutely deserve access to the White House, and they should continue to pose their questions. However, that can and seemingly will be done in a manner much more conducive to delivering actual information to the American public.
That is an extraordinarily boring version of 1984 you just saw there. This is literally, and also I should say, I just noticed on the AMs, this is a guy that Bill Maher called one of the good ones in terms of people that were around Donald Trump. But this is the spin you're going to see. It's one of the good ones. This is the spin you're going to see, that it's all the press's fault. And this is, again, this is what Ben and I were discussing. Yes, the mainstream press has done a horrible job, completely undermined its credibility on everything from how trivially it covers politics to whether or not it obviously aggressively covers the corporate sector. This goes back to the 1970s. I look at a conversation I had with Mark Ames about Seymour Hersh. And when he was exposing the wrongdoing of the CIA, he could do it. When he went and tried to expose the wrongdoing of corporate America, it hurt his career. But they're taking that undermined principle and selling and packaging why you should only have propaganda and no information. And that's going to work for their base. It's a question if it can work enough to peel people off in the general. So from a policy perspective, I mean, obviously, this goes back to media consolidation and media ownership. And that's another thank you, Bill Clinton moment. Signing telecommunications deregulation in 1996. And obviously all Republicans, except for I think John McCain, voted against that. But from a cultural perspective, this is why the press needs to desperately do what it can to regain its credibility, because the lane for this kind of nonsense, propaganda, and doublespeak is wide open because of an administration that has zero ethics, lies as a matter of habit and basic just functioning, but a press that undermined itself.
This is exactly what they did to the government, too. You basically make the institution impossible, unable to do its function, and then attack it for not being able to do its function.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the same. And that's why they have a self-reinforcing policy.
Hey, Sam Seder here. Folks, you probably heard about the whole YouTube advertiser apocalypse. Well, we're suffering from it, too. We need your help. If you want to keep this show alive, you want us to be able to still put out clips on a regular basis, head over to our Patreon page. Here's the link right here or down below there. And just give us a couple bucks a month and support this program. Really appreciate it.